Thank you, Ram, for all the devotees. Thank you so much for giving me a wonderful opportunity to serve you all. So we'll be continuing from where we left off. Today will be the third part. Om Ajnananjana Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namani. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvani Vachani Nirvishesha Sannadi Rashtrata Deshatari Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so let me share it on the screen. Yes. So we have covered dealing with God brothers and dealing with ladies or Matajis in the last class. So today we'll be continuing from dealing with guests onwards, and I have shared it on the screen also. Okay, so when guests come to our temple and homes, it is the Vaishnava etiquette to treat them with great respect and love. They should be welcomed with sweet words, a sweet water, and prasadam according to our means. So of course, Atithi Deva Bhava, this is the common standard, um, the standard of serving any guest who is coming from outside. So whether it is in temple or in our house or in any other place, if a guest is coming, then we treat them as if they were God or representative of God. This is how it is defined in the Vedic culture. And it is also mentioned that if the guest is, even if they are our enemies, still they should be treated for the timing. They should be treated in such a way that for the timing they'll forget that they are enemies. So very gently and very nicely and very kindly we have to treat them. So this is the etiquette for dealing with guests. Then addressing the Vaishnavas. So Srila Prabhupada has to be addressed as His Divine Grace, the Guru and a sannyasi as His Holiness, and a God brother as His Grace. A God brother's name may be prefixed as Shriman. Brahmachari's name is suffixed by the term Brahmachari. Example, Krishnadas Brahmachari, a Grihastha by the term Adhikari, and a sannyasi by the term Maharaj, Swami, or Goswami. Just give me 1 second. I'll be back. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so brahmachari should be addressed as brahmachari or Prabhu or Krishnadas brahmachari. Example, Grihastha by the term Adhikari, generally, and sannyasi by the term Maharaj, Goswami, or Swami. Dealing with other Vaishnavas. So we may offer respect to, but one should not associate with the following categories of people: Vaishnavas of bad or doubtful character, Sahajiyas, Vaishnavas of Sampradayas of doubtful bona fides, and Mayavadi sannyasis. So we should not take intimate association with such devotees or non-devotees if they affect our Krishna consciousness somehow. If we are very advanced, then we can give them association, but we should not take their association. Vaishnava is not to be seen from the material point of view. The Rupa Goswami says an act of instruction in regard to the Vaishnava. Such a devotee should not be seen from materialistic point of view. Indeed, one should overlook a devotee as having a body born in a low family, a body a body with a bad complexion, a deformed body, or a diseased or infirm body. In other words, one should overlook all bodily defects of bad appearance, low birth, low education, etc. Any Vaishnava serving the Lord should be considered holy. It is stated in the Shastras that it is hellish mentality to consider a Vaishnava to be born of certain caste or creed, or to consider the same to be an ordinary person. Body of Vaishnava is a temple. The body of Vaishnava is to be seen as temple of Vishnu. Therefore, while offering obeisances to Vaishnava, we should remember that we are also offering obeisances to Lord Vishnu within the heart. Therefore, we should never walk over the body of a Vaishnava. So, considering that the body of the devotee is home of the Lord, that's why we offer respects. And of course, in the devotee, we see the Lord, because the devotee is supposed to remember and glorify the Lord. So that's how we can actually see, we can perceive the Lord in the body of a devotee. Mercy of Vaishnavas is necessary. One should not begin any significant venture in one's life without first receiving the blessings of Vaishnavas. One must always feel oneself dependent on the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Yes, so of course we always seek the blessings of Vaishnavas, especially our Gurujan and then other devotees whom we are connected to. And we also feel dependent on the mercy of the Vaishnavas. But it does not mean that dependence does not mean that we take each and every instruction, every guidance from them and don't use our intelligence, because intelligence is very important for a devotee. So each and every devotee, they are supposed to use their intelligence and they are supposed to make mature decisions. Of course, it's a learning process and we can make mistakes also. But whenever there's a difficulty, whenever it seems that it is beyond our control or we cannot think of any particular solution, or we are not able to rectify a situation or take a judgment, then of course we have to be we need to humble ourselves and we need to take shelter and guidance of a senior devotee. So that way we'll always be dependent on their mercy, and we'll always feel that no matter how much we have advanced or how much learning we have gathered, how much Shastra we know, still we'll always feel that we need to learn and we need to understand more and more. So that's why it is necessary to be dependent on the mercy of the Vaishnava. So ultimately, we should also feel that whatever advancement I am making or whatever knowledge I have gained, ultimately it is because of the mercy of our Gurujan Vaishnavas. That's why I'm able to assimilate things. So that one should remember always. But yeah, ultimately one has to fly their own plane, because at the time of death, everyone is going to be privately present with Krishna. So the sadhana is actually the most important. The Vani of the Guru and the Vaishnava is the most important. So if we are following Vani to a great extent, then we are in a safe position. But ultimately, we always seek the mercy of Vaishnavas in every situation. We never feel that we have attained anything or we have attained perfection or we have achieved anything by our own selves. It's only because, of course, we put the efforts, and the ultimate purpose of the effort is to attract the mercy of the Vaishnavas. That's the main goal. The goal is not to achieve the Lord or achieve the perfection with our own effort, because that will never happen. Whatever advancement we are making in spiritual life, it's all because of the mercy of the Vaishnavas. Okay. Loving exchanges between the Vaishnavas. In the Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami explains that there are 6 loving exchanges between Vaishnavas: offering gifts in charity, receiving gifts in charity. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes that generally this gift is not material gift or something like that. It is mainly the gift of Krishna consciousness, the gift of compassion, the gift of mercy, the gift of um, how we can advance in spiritual life, and the gift of the limbs of bhakti, like that. Of course, it can be because we are all aspiring devotees, so we have some personal choice, inclination, and we like certain things also in material world, and we have some requirement or need certain things also. So it's also fine that we serve each other through some material uh, gifts or something like that, but that should not become the primary gift. The primary gift is actually Krishna consciousness, like that. So offering gift, and then of course you need to receive also, because the devotees also feel that they would like to offer it to someone. So if you are offering, then you should also receive it. And then revealing one's mind in confidence, very important, inquiring confidentially. So you need to reveal to someone who is very, you have a lot of trust in that devotee, and you can feel at ease. So in Krishna consciousness, there will be many obstacles, challenges, difficulties. There will be a problem with the authorities. There will be problem with other devotees also. And many times you feel that, okay, you are right and you are doing right, or things are not going the way it should be. So then you can definitely discuss it with your uh, equals, or juniors or seniors, depending on the context. And then you can try to understand from them what, how you can be helped in those situations. Or of course, it can be of philosophical nature also. It can be of anything in general, where you feel that you just want to reveal your heart to someone without getting judged, or without um, any kind of prejudice for any other devotee or person. So one should make sure that even if devotees, they have difficulty with other devotees and they would like to discuss with their very close friends, but they should do in such a way that the reputation of that devotee is not spoiled, and the purpose has to be served, and we should not become over judgmental, or we should not judge unnecessarily. And the reason of sharing with others is not to spread the blasphemy of others, but to reveal ourselves so that we feel enlightened or lightened in such a way. And at the same time, we also get some solution that we can apply, and then we can overcome that issues or difficulties. So, and then of course, it can be revealing your the confidential aspects of your Krishna consciousness also. The, if you're making advancement, or if you're facing any obstacle and others like that, everything comes in that. So very, very important, very crucial. And of course, inquiring confidentially from other devotees also. And then accepting prasadam, offering prasadam, that too, I think every devotee would love to do that. So these are the 6 ways in which devotees, this is a favorable condition where devotees they can advance together. When one comes to the temple, one should accept prasadam from Vaisnavas. Yes, very important also. For Grihasthas, it is their duty to invite the Vaishnavas to their homes to offer prasadam. So, especially in Grihasthashram, it is the duty of the Grihasthas to, generally, the Grihastha devotees, they have to invite people at their home, because they need to make their home a temple. And in order to do that, they have to invest their money, they have to make donations, they have to maintain the other 3 ashrams also. The Brahmachari, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas ashram, they are actually dependent on the Grihastha ashram. So the Grihastha ashram is supposed to, whatever income they are earning, they are supposed to spend. Like the ideal case is that of Srila Rupa Goswami, who donated 25% of his income to his family members. Now, whether they were devotees or not devotees, 25% he donated, 25% he used for his personal savings, and then 50% he donated straight to the Lord. Okay, so this is the standard. Ideal standard is that 50%, whatever income is there, you donate it to the Lord in the service of Lord, and then 25%, 25%, like that you can divide for savings and for your relatives, close relatives, of course. Yeah, so when Grihasthas, they keep inviting Vaishnavas, then generally it is assumed that Grihasthas, they are making very gradual or slow advancement, because they are entangled in the material world. They are very busy with the material association and all that. So that's why regularly to invite devotees to hear from them, to learn from them, and take their guidance is very crucial for their Grihastha ashram. And that's why it is recommended that, of course, the money is also purified, and we also make advancement. And you must be aware that earlier days, the sannyasis, they used to beg door to door. And the main purpose of begging is to give them katha, to give them Krishna consciousness. At the same time, they will accept whatever you offer to them without any demand or request. Right? So it is also mentioned in the Shastra that it is a very ideal standard, very difficult to follow also. But it's a roadmap. And it is mentioned that a Grihastha, is supposed to first go outside and announce to everyone, that we have got some prasad in the house, please come and take it. And then if no one comes, and then Grihasthas are supposed to take in their house. So when everyone has taken prasadam, after that, one is supposed to take prasad. But of course, this standard is not practical in current circumstances. But if some devotees, they are kind-hearted, generous, at least one thing we can do is we can keep we can conduct house programs. We can keep inviting devotees programs. We can organize that at least once in a week. We can do it, and every week we can do for months and years like that. So that way it will be very helpful. Or of course, we can also donate in temple projects or any projects that are connected to your devotional services. The most precious gift we can receive or give is the gift of Krishna Katha, the transcendental knowledge of Krishna consciousness. So one of the most important, I think, it's although it may be considered as a, like some devotees may think that, oh, we don't have so much time and we are not able to meet personally and discuss Krishna consciousness with each other like Ishtagoshti. So one may think like that, but ultimately one will realize that the most important seva is basically to get together and to have kirtan and to also discuss Krishna consciousness. It can be katha, Nam, Rup, Guna, Lila, it can be anything. And that's very extremely important. You will also find if you start this practice regularly, then you will see that you'll relish it so much and you love it so much that you will feel that you would like to do it every day. But at least we can start with once in a week period. Okay, that's extremely important. You can also somehow can try start, and I think you are all doing it very wonderfully because you have this Bhagavatam sessions every day. So that's very good, and it's very important for your personal growth, your sadhana also. So this is something which is very much required. Okay. Yeah. So that type of, it may seem that it is a part of sadhana, but that sadhana becomes a great service because when you remain inspired throughout your Krishna conscious journey and you inspire others, that of course that inspiration is coming from your sadhana, and that sadhana comes from basically when you in the association of devotees, when you study together, when you share together. So that petrol comes only from that, and you will be amazed to see how it drives you in your Krishna consciousness. So extremely important service and sadhana, of course. Yes. So the grihasthas staying outside the temple should try to call devotees of renounced order for preaching at their homes. Yes. So see, generally the trend is that the grihasthas are supposed to have a lot of regards and respect for the renunciants, which are the brahmacharis, the vanaprasthis, and the sannyasis. And when we say this, we assume, because see, we are in one way we are talking about varnashram, but at the same time it's incorporated with bhakti also. So a grihastha is supposed to, why he's supposed to take association of these renunciants is because it is assumed that the sannyasis, the brahmacharis, because they are spending full time in the service of Lord, they are absorbed more, they have good purity compared to the grihasthas who are actually in the material world also. They are taking a lot of material association, and their eating habits are also not very consistent. Sometimes they have to eat outside. But the brahmachari, sannyasi, vanaprastha who are staying in the temple, so it is assumed that they are probably more pure in their demeanor. They are more advanced, right? So that's the reason we need to have a lot of regard and respect for the devotees who have dedicated full time. At the same time, if a grihastha also, while staying in the house, if he has the same caliber of Krishna consciousness, then he's also to be considered as a advanced devotee, and his association should be sought by the renunciants. So it all depends on your level of advancement. And similarly, of course, the other way around also is true that if the grihasthas they are having that kind of respect for the sannyasis, brahmacharis, then they also feel respectful towards the grihasthas. They think that, oh, the grihasthas, they are actually living outside, they are associating with outside people, they are working, but still they are so Krishna conscious and their sadhana is so strong. So they will feel inspired by that and they will also respect you. At the same time, the grihasthas, they are supposed to respect the renunciation of the sannyasis, the brahmacharis. And one can think like this, that we are materially attached, so that's why we are not able to be absorbed 24 hours a day. But these devotees, renunciants, they are able to do it. So they are really very advanced, and we need to respect them. So it's a mutual cooperation, understanding, and maturity of dealing with each other, and that way the entire community can grow. Of course, these other ashrams, they are also dependent on the grihasthas. So grihasthas, they must be very generous for donation, and they should not think that we are the one who are running the show. If they think like that, then they will start falling down from their position. And if the sannyasis and the brahmacharis, they do not reciprocate with the grihasthas, they are not grateful to the grihasthas, then they will start fall down. So it happened in the past that many brahmacharis earlier, because they were not that much trained, they did not have so much experience. So they felt that the grihasthas, when they saw their lifetime and all, they thought that the grihasthas, they are just busy making money, and they are spending a lot of time outside and all with their family and all. So they started thinking that they are actually grihasthas in name only, but they are no less than the materialistic people. So that kind of mentality, it started, um, they started developing some kind of grudges for the grihasthas, and eventually that led to the fall down of the brahmacharis, and finally they got married because they were criticizing the grihasthas. And the grihasthas also, they thought that these you brahmacharis are useless parasites in the society. They cannot do anything. They are just sitting, and they are depending on us for financial needs and all, and they are making a show of as if they are engaged full time, but internally they have so much problems and all. So of course, if grihasthas think like that, then they will also fall down from their position. So we should have a mutual respect for each other. And then if we do know that some devotees, they are not situated rightly in Krishna consciousness, then we may keep distance from the devotee, whether it be grihastha or brahmachari or sannyasi. But if we aren't sure, then we should, in general, we should respect them. Okay. Dealing with non-devotees. One should not allow non-devotees to touch our feet. But if they insist on doing it and there is no other way to avoid it, one can simply remember the predecessor acharyas and spiritual master and accept them and return the namaskar with folded hands. So see, the reason why we are not supposed to allow them to touch is because according to Shastra, when they touch our feet, they are transferring their karma to us. So when they transfer that karma, we should be able to digest it. We should be able to absorb that karma. If we are not advanced enough, then that karma can start affecting us. So that's why it is recommended that we should not allow them. And if they insist, then we should fold our hands and we should humbly offer them respects in return. And Prabhupada one time he said that you can touch the head of the devotee so that the whatever karma is transferred to you will be transferred back to them. So that way you can do also. Touch the head not in the sense of giving them blessings as such, but like just thinking that you are not qualified to receive their um, respects and all like that. So returning back their offering like that. So two categories of non-devotees. To the innocent, we should be the well-wisher. With respect, we should try to enlighten them and give them the association of our spiritual master. But we should not take their association by engaging in activities that give them pleasure in life, that is materialistic activities. As regards the atheist, we should avoid them. It is an offense against the holy name to preach to such people. We may, however, preach if they are willing to submissively hear from us. Yes. So non-devotees, when we try to preach to them, we should be careful that we don't take their association. Okay. And we try to give them our association, but we should not take their association. And atheists, those who criticize, those who are like envious, or those who are like those who get very angry when they hear things related to spiritual life, then we should try to avoid such people. And so it is an offense to the holy name if we try to preach the faithless. Okay, so we should not try to associate with them. Greeting non-devotees. If the non-devotee is a friend, we can say Hare Krishna and with folded hands touch our forehead. If the non-devotee is a superior relative, then we should chant Hare Krishna and bow down to him or her. If one encounters a person who is criticizing Guru, Vaishnavas, or Shastra, then one must either soundly defeat him in argument or leave the place immediately. Hearing such offenses is one of the greatest obstacles to one's spiritual development. Yeah, so this is also something very important, that if there's some non-devotee or even if a devotee, he criticizes Guru Vaishnavas out of envy or out of any malign intention, then we are not supposed to hear that. We must soundly defeat them argument, or we should leave the place immediately. And the third injunction is, which is not mentioned here because in the current time it is not applicable. So it is mentioned that one should immediately cut the tongue of that offender and one should kill oneself. So because you heard the criticism against your Guru Vaishnavas, that's why you should punish the person, but then you should also kill yourself. So this is also uh, a very difficult injunction to follow in Kali Yuga. These injunctions, they were strictly followed in earlier yugas because the people, they were very pious also, and they used to strictly follow the injunctions. Okay, reception of guests. Atithi Seva in the temple or at home. The Sanskrit word Atithi means not schedule. So this is the meaning that, many times we get big surprise that someone who is not invited all of a sudden will come. But the word meaning itself is not scheduled. They just end up coming. And unscheduled or unexpected guest is considered a representative of the Supreme Lord. So these are all special guests who are unexpected, unscheduled. Since his arriving unannounced is just what the Lord might do to test his devotee and see how ready he is to serve him in any situation. Okay, with this understanding, one should serve the guest. The Lord's temple, whether open to the public or in one's home, should be a place where visitors can take part in temple activities as far as possible. In ISKCON, the proper reception of guests is very important since the society is a preaching mission. Proper reception of a guest can make the difference between a person coming once to the temple and never returning, or becoming a regular visitor and ultimately becoming a devotee of Krishna. Yeah. So I think many devotees must have experienced that earlier when they were new to ISKCON and when they started reading Prabhupada books, Prabhupada glorifies the devotees like anything. So devotees are like this, they are like that, they are compassionate, they are selfless, they are loving, kind, caring. But then so in the beginning, you feel all these things are there. You may have this conception that, okay, so devotees are pure devotees, all of them. But then you gradually started, you start gradually started receiving experience about how devotees, they interact with different levels, categories of devotees, and they get different types of experiences. And then they get into a dilemma because what they have heard in the Shastra is not exactly according to what they see. And then they also get to understand many things, that some devotees, they are not following regulatory principles, some are envious, some are, they have some bad qualities also. Some are not even religious, some are not even moral, they're not following moral principles also. So many such things you will start understanding, but then we also get to know that devotees are in different levels, Kanishta, Madhyam, Uttama, and that's how we also kind of understand with time. But yes, whenever you uh, whenever some new guest will come to the temple, they should be treated very nicely. And in the beginning, they will get some good impression, and because of that good impression, they will also start coming gradually on a regular basis. So, and finally, they can also become a devotee. But if we do not give proper respect and treatment to a guest, then they may think that, okay, this is just theoretical in nature, this is not practical. I don't see devotees living like the way it is mentioned in the books. So they will stop coming after some time. So regular visitors, invited guests, life members, visiting Vaishnavas, relatives of Vaishnavas, all should be treated in such a way that they'll feel comfortable and want to come again. Now, see, the uh, interesting thing is that we definitely focus on people who coming from outside who are new people, and we try to give them a lot of care, affection. But then we forget our own people, our own devotees with whom we have got relationship, who have spent many years of Krishna consciousness. So gradually we slacken our relationship, we slacken our love, affection, care for them. So that should not happen. Then it seems that we are hypocrites, because externally we are just trying to please some outsiders, but internally between ourselves our relationships are not good. So if that happens, then everyone can observe from outside, and then they will also feel that we are not strictly following everything, right? So the relationship between devotees should be very strong, the bonding has to be very strong. And of course it depends on sincerity, and it depends on the center of bhakti, which is Guru and Krishna, and a couple of other factors also, how the bonding can become really strong. So every devotee should learn how to take care of guests, but temple devotees who regularly worship the deity should especially be expert in this matter, for they directly represent the proprietor of the temple. Even the most first-class opulent deity worship will fail to attract a guest if the temple residents neglect him. Yes, so this is temple opulence, temple deities, dressing, decoration, all that definitely plays a very important role in attracting newcomers. But the ultimate role is played by the treatment which they receive from the devotees. So we need to be very careful about that. And yeah, one more thing we also understand is that the Kanishta only, they think that the Lord is present in the temple, and they will not perceive the presence of Lord in others. But a Madhyama knows how to discriminate. So Madhyama can understand that dealing relationship with devotees, serving devotees is more important than serving the Lord. So accordingly, they will give their priority to everyone, like that. Proper reception of guests is the special duty of the Grihastha. If the Grihastha does not receive an unexpected guest warmly, no matter who he is, he commits a great sin. Not only Grihasthas, however, but everyone in every ashram and varna should properly receive guests. Yeah, especially for Grihasthas, if unexpected guests come, then the minimum what we can do is at least we can offer a sitting place, or if we are not able to offer any food or something, then we can at least offer some water. Every devotee, in spite of having money or not, they can offer these two things: offer a sitting place and offer some water also. So that is very important for Grihastha devotees, especially they have to be very careful. See, the thing is that the Grihastha's life is private life, and they have a lot of independence also. So that's why all these etiquettes that we are discussing now about guest receiving and all. So these are like, of course, much more in context with the Grihasthas, because when you are too much independent, or when you become too much when you are in the comfort zone, then there'll be some arrangements by the Lord, which will try to he will try to remove you out of from the comfort zone, or he will also try to make you more attached towards him, or detached from the material association outside. So that's why the Lord may make some arrangements like this, and we need to be very careful that the guest should be treated properly. So generally, the brahmacharis, the sannyasis, vanaprasthis, if you are staying in the temple, then they are dependent on the Lord, because they have left their families, house, parents, whatever, like, and they are now fully dedicated to the service of Lord. So there is no, this context is not much applicable to them, because anyways, in the temple, there are always guests who are coming. So it's open. It's a free public space. But your house is a private place, right? It's a private space for you. And that's why these principles apply more for the Grihasthas. So the main elements in receiving guests are the offering of proper respect and conveniences, including food and water, a place to sit, kind words, any services for the comfort of the guest, such as bathing facilities, and a place to rest. When a guest first arrives, you should go out to meet him. And when the visitor departs, you should accompany him at least out of the premises or the yard. So these are like refined culture in receiving and treating the guests. The finer details, how we are supposed to, when they come, then we are supposed to go outside. If they are coming to our building complex, then we should go down. We should receive them, and then after when they are leaving the house, then we should at least go near the lift area, or at least where the gates are there, and then send them off like that. So these are like more refined and finer details. So according to the Panchratrik Vidhi, one shows respect by rising from one's seat when a superior approaches, identifying oneself by name and offering greetings, offering prostrated obeisances in 5 or 8 limbs. So offering simple or elaborate worship. Oh, okay. Um, For practical purposes, you may worship the guest with 2 articles, sandal paste and flowers or garlands, or a seat and water for washing the feet. So, of course, depending on who is visiting your house, if he is your guru, if he is a senior devotee, if he is equal, if he is a junior, depending on that, you offer different kinds of things. Giving gifts such as cloth, gold, money, or grains. One should respect elders, parents, and teachers by rising from a seated position, identifying oneself, and offering obeisances. Worship and gifts are reserved for the spiritual master. Yes, so spiritual master, of course, is a special position. So his worship also should be special. It should not be equal as the other devotees or the outside people, like that. So proper behavior as a guest. A Vaishnava guest should behave ideally, whether his host is another Vaishnava or a well-wisher of Vaishnavas. What follows are a few commonly accepted points of etiquette for Vaishnava guests. So now, what is the etiquette for a guest if they are visiting the house of some devotee? If you are an invited guest, you should not overstay your invitation. For example, if invited for a meal, you may rest a short time after the meal to aid your digestion, but do not burden your host by staying and conversing for several hours unless encouraged to do so. So basically, these are etiquettes which are supposed to be followed by the guests so that they do not take undue advantage of the scripture injunction there in the Shastra, which says that Atithi Deva Bhava, that the Atithi guest is a representative of the Lord. So sometimes some devotees, some guests, they will not be, they will take it for granted and they will take an undue advantage of it. So these are the etiquettes for them that they should keep in mind. And of course, it also depends on the relationship of the guest with the host. Do not bring your own guests on the strength of your invitation. If you wish to invite other guests, ask your host permission. Yeah, so these are like, if you don't know your host, then it makes sense to ask them permission. But if you know them very well, then I think, it all depends on the context also. If you are permitted to use a telephone, fax machine, or other such facilities, offer to pay accrued expenses. So, again, generally when we are inviting a guest, then we don't take charge from them. But depending on the scenario, we may also offer to pay. When planning to visit a friend or acquaintance uninvited, try to let your prospective host know when you will arrive and how long you intend to stay. Unless you have been invited or have informed your host, try to avoid arriving at a temple or your host house at noon time or early afternoon when both the deity and persons in general rest after lunch. If you stay for some days at your host house, it is appropriate to give token gifts to the householder residents as a gesture of gratitude. Yeah, so I think all depends on relationship of that guest and the host. So if they have very strong bonding, good relationship, very close relatives, then these etiquettes generally they are not taken that much seriously because the relation is spontaneous. So when you come to spontaneous level, then these things do not matter a lot. But yes, if the relationship is not developed, it is the beginning or you're totally unknown to each other, then these things are supposed to be kept in mind. So procedure for reception of Vaishnavas. You should give great attention to receiving senior Vaishnavas, sannyasis, and especially your spiritual master. Before the Vaishnava guest arrives, his living quarters should be arranged, cleaned, and provided with necessities such as panch, patra, mirror, tilak, towels, drinking water, fresh bedding. If possible, provide a set of Prabhupada books. You may also provide some incense and incense holder and matches. The guest quarters may also be decorated with flower vases, devotional pictures, and so on. When a Vaishnava guest arrives, you should go out to greet him, preferably with the kirtan, garlands, and sandal paste, unless it is cold outside. You should offer obeisances and kind words and should direct the guest to a seat. If you are receiving your spiritual master, you should worship him at this time with his permission by offering him arti, offering flowers at his feet, and paying obeisance. You should be prepared to offer the guest prasadam immediately, but you should first inquire whether the guest wishes to first bathe or rest before accepting prasadam. When appropriate, you should introduce the guest to other residents of the temple or household and should inquire if there is some service you may render. You may also ask the guest how long he intends to stay, taking care not to give the impression that you are looking forward to his departure. Rather, you should encourage your guest to stay longer than he had planned. Yes, so it all depends on the context, your relationship with that person, and then, but one thing is the essence of all these principles is that your entire attitude and mentality should be to please that devotee, please that guest. So in order to please the guest, we have to do things according to their liking, not according to our whimsical ideas or our liking. So, like, once I heard that His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, so he went to the house of a Grihastha devotee, and um, what happened is that he asked for a particular fruit, and that fruit was not available. So that devotee felt very bad. He felt that maybe I'm offending my Guru Maharaj, I'm not able to serve Guru Maharaj properly. So the devotee went all the way to the market and he like basically was trying to find out the fruit. And here Jayapataka Maharaj, instead of eating that fruit, he actually got some alternative and he continued with his prasadam and he finished everything. So this devotee later he came and then he offered, and then Maharaj said that, well, I've already finished my prasadam, so why did you now come? So he said that Guru Maharaj, the fruit was not there. So then Maharaj told him that why you didn't tell me earlier? Then I would have requested you something else that time. So sometimes what happens, we may have some misconceptions or notions about certain likings or requirements of our Guru or Vaishnavas according to our conditioning. But then it may not be true. It may not be something which they may like. Okay. So, and of course, time is also very important. To be practical is also very important in Krishna consciousness. And so we have to offer as much to the best of our ability, but we should always be very, I think, open and honest also that, okay, like this is not available currently. I mean, do you wish me to go and get it? Or, like, of course, a first class disciple knows the heart of the Guru. So he will do things according, like he knows everything and he will get it done. If you don't know, then it's better you ask some senior devotees to clarify. But in many cases, you don't need to break your head and try to figure out what is going to please the Guru. It's better that you sometimes you directly ask the Guru or some senior devotee, and you have to use your intelligence. So intelligence is very, very important in order to make such decisions. So we have, especially we are fearful when our Guru comes into our house, or we are meeting him somewhere else. because of course that's a natural feeling a disciple will have for the guru if they do not have that kind of intimate relationship. But yeah, in that fearful condition also we should be able to use our intelligence. If not, we can try to take guidance from seniors. Yeah, so sometimes the guru may be busy, he may have very short time, and you may invite to your house, he may also visit, but then you arrange the garland, the sandal paste, and then you also would like to wash his feet and all, but the guru does not have time, and then you keep insisting and requesting the guru, then guru has to forcefully sit down and he has to accept everything. And sometimes you may not even want to have that many items in prasadam, but you keep serving him more and more items. And sometimes the guru may have some restrictions. Vaishnavas will have some restriction. Sometimes you may serve according to your uh, conception, but the Vaishnav may require something else, something opposite of what you feel. So it is always best, especially when you're inviting devotees, to take care of these things. You can clarify with them directly when they visit. Before that, you can clarify, asking them what, if you have any diet restrictions, if you prefer something for prasadam, if you do not prefer something for prasadam, and what like of course we don't invite devotees for our benefit, our entertainment, or our enjoyment. We invite them because, so, and then we leave the choice up to them how they would like to uh, utilize our house, how, if they would like to rest for some time. We may want to talk to the devotee, but the devotee may be very tired, so the devotee may come home and you would like to take some rest. But if we are insistent on talking to the devotee, and then the devotee will not feel so comfortable, the guest will not feel so comfortable. So all these factors are there that we need to take care of. Yeah, and of course, especially when we love to serve someone, then we want that person to stay for a longer period of time. So we should not be anxious for the departure of our devotee or a guest. So that also has to be taken care of. We should not give an impression like that. Okay, so I think we can stop here, and later on we'll continue with the sadhana, the importance of sadhana, the etiquettes of sadhana, how to perform sadhana. So we'll take questions and comments now. Okay, so any comments or any questions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada, Jai Guru Maharaj. I don't have any question, Prabhuji, but thank you so much for this more information and about Vaishnava etiquettes, how we can avoid in day-to-day life. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Right.
If anybody has any question or comment, please go ahead and ask. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
think,
Guruji, for
yeah,
enlightening us and giving us all the details about the Vaishnava etiquette. They're very important, and sometimes it's very hard to remember all of them. But like, if one bring those into like practical daily life, not just like artificially outside only, but implement at home also, right? With the devotees at home. So those are very important to remember what you have mentioned. Yeah. So
yes, I have shared this entire manual with Shamrisika Mataji. Last,
okay.
when the last class was there, that day I had shared. And so have you all received it?
Say that again, Prabhu. Have you or
Have you all received the manual?
No, Prabhuji, I have not received yet.
1 minute, Prabhuji. I will take.
I will request
I
Mataji.
think Mataji forgot to share.
Yeah, I think. Sorry, Prabhuji.
Don't keep it for yourself. Share with others.
Yeah. I think I forgot. Last a week or something, I was very busy. So I
Yeah.
forgot. Yeah, I got it now. I'll share it.
Krishna consciousness dynamic is, it works on a different principle. Okay. The more we share, the more we receive.
Yes, Prabhuji. I just share,
Dynamics
Prabhuji.
is that we want to keep it for ourselves so that we only can get the benefit. Of course, I'm not saying for Shamrasika Mataji, but this is the equation here is very different. So the more we share, the more we get, like that.
Yes, Prabhuji. Sorry, Prabhuji. I forgot actually, and I just now shared it. Thank you for
Yeah,
reminding.
of course, I understand your intention.
Mhm.
So it is very important. Devotees can go through it whenever they get some time. They can go through the manual, and there is so many things are there. We'll discuss one by one, of course. But you just skim through the menu, and some sections are very important. So you can first start reading that as a reference.
Actually, that weekend, our Guru Maharaj visit was here, so we were so busy. So in that, I skipped to see that.
Yeah, okay.
Anybody has any question or comment, please go ahead.
I think
Prabhuji, one question somebody asked me,
yeah.
when we do the Tulsi Parikrama Pradakshina, we recite the mantra, and then after that we pay our obeisances to the Tulsi Maharani.
Okay.
So generally the men should do the Dandvat Pranam when we are doing it for Prabhupada and deities. But when I have seen like many times we don't do the Dandvat Pranam, men do not do the Dandvat Pranam to the Tulsi Maharani. Is that like how it is? Really? And is there a reason behind that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about that. Why they don't do it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I mean, I have seen some devotees doing Danvat Pranam also.
Yes,
But yeah,
Prabhuji.
what you are saying is also true. What we observe is that we are not paying full obeisances.
Mm.
Yeah. I think, yeah, maybe because of frequency like that. I mean, we are offering our obeisances, full obeisances to Acharya, and then we offer to the deities also. So,
Okay.
and maybe because Tulsi Maharani is not like, I mean, she's kept outside. Maybe that's one of the reasons why. I mean, because when I go to temple, I have seen many devotees. They also pay the entire Danvat to Tulsi Maharani. It may be individual choice, and but there is I don't think there is any particular injunction that we pay half obeisances, not full. I think we can have full Danvat obeisances also, but maybe in terms of frequency, probably we are just trying to restrict it. So most important things that we are doing. So that way, I mean, this is what I think the standard that Prabhupada probably gave us. So I'm not 100% sure if Prabhupada wanted us to pay only half obeisances, or he showed by his example that we are only paying half obeisances to thing. But one thing logically we can deduct is that generally Danvat pranams, we are doing it for the most important things, and then after that, I think it's not necessary that we have to always like do it for everything. Um, yeah, maybe because of that.
Okay. Sure.
But I'm not sure. Maybe if there is any particular etiquette or Prabhupada said something about it, I'm not aware of that. But I'm just using my philosophical speculation.
Okay. That's it. Thank you.
Yes, okay. So I think that many devotees, they're expert in dealing with guests. That's why we don't have any questions related to guests. Because I think most of the devotees I see is they're from Indian background. So everyone is familiar with dealing with guests. Seems. Okay, all right. So we'll continue next time. Thank you all the devotees for joining. Hare Krishna, Dhamma Param to everyone. Vancha kalpatarvishya
ध्रुवश्च कृपासिन्धुः च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
namo namaha.
अनंतकोटि वैष्णव की जय, नमाचार्य ठाकुर की जय,
जय
श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, श्री प्रभुपाद की जय,
जय
प्रेम रस प्रभु की जय।
जय
Gaudiya Vaishnava
सो
ji.
मच प्रभु जी, हरे कृष्णा।
Hare Krishna.
थैंक यू प्रभु जी हरे
Thank
कृष्ण
you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.